my degree was in instrumental music education, and I actually taught full-time in the Chicago Public Schools as a band teacher for several years. And then when I started to want to grow my family and have a family, I decided, how can I still be teaching but be present in my children's lives as much as I could? And so one of the things that I sort of fell into was teaching early childhood music. Music was my release and my joy, and I wanted to incorporate that into also my passion for teaching. So it made sense for me to be in music education. My favorite thing about teaching early childhood is the wonder of it. It's a music and movement and instrument play program for families with young children from newborn to 5 years of age. The program is teaching development skills through music, and I just can't imagine anything better for very young children to be doing with their families. And so the skills that we learn in class, I love, because families go home and they sing and they dance and they move, and everything that we do in class is supporting that family unit. The curriculum is very rich in the Kindermusik program, so it's not stagnant. It changes every semester, so I'm singing different things and interacting in different, with different stories and things like that. So it's never boring. And students need different things. So, I think as a teacher, it's my job to sort of figure out a child's learning style and then to change how I teach to meet that child's needs. Music is a vehicle for early childhood learning skills. So what's fascinating about that is that we know there are very few things that you can do with a baby. An infant can't control their limbs, can't speak, but we know that they are listening and they are watching. I mean, there was a time when you would put a baby in a bouncy seat or something, and then you'd leave them, and they'd be like, well, they're not learning anything, so I'm just going to leave them there until they start crying. And then all of a sudden we figured out, oh my gosh, they are observing and they are figuring out. They just can't tell us how much they know, but they know quite a bit about their surroundings and about what's happening. And so research sort of started kind of coming out that these babies were paying attention, that we shouldn't just leave them there, that they're really observing and figuring out the world. And so they did a lot of studies about, well, what can we do to get children to track their eyes? And we realized, oh, well, if we shake a shaker back and forth, then they'll watch the shaker back and forth and try to grab it with their hands even though they can't. And then for soothing, we learned that infants, if you rocked infants back and forth, that was really comforting to them, and they'd stop crying. Well, why it was comforting them is because the motion is a left to a right, and a left is predictable, and it's calming, and it's relaxing. So for infants, we realized that dancing and moving and singing to them was not only enjoyable for them, but they were learning when we were doing those things. It was predictable, it was comforting, it was socialization with an adult. And so so we started having classes for babies because we realized, oh my gosh, wouldn't you want to have a class for an infant and a parent, so a parent can learn how to calm a child and how to dance with them and move with them? So then when the development gets a little bit older to a toddler, we realized that they're working on developing their coordination skill and their large motor skills, and that if you sang things, often they could sing kind of sing-song melody back to you, and we realized that they needed to work on the skills of hopping with 2 feet and moving. And again, always having the parent or the caregiver be the person who was sort of helping do that, because you can go to a class one day a week, but unless you're using these skills every day, they're not going to learn those skills or practice them. So development-wise, we figured out that the synapses of the brain are forming, and that repetition of those kinds of activities actually secure the synapses. And so in order for children to learn something, you need to predictably do things over and over again. And so music has become this sort of thing that we were able to use as a vehicle for developing those skills. The wonderful thing about working with babies, infants, toddlers, and preschoolers is that their minds are exploding in terms of development. And so the biggest thing that families get when they come to my program is a vehicle in which development increases and happens for the children. So we move, we dance, we sing, we create, we storytell, all through music. But what families are actually getting is the skills for those kids to develop cognitively as well as physically. Ann's Haven has opened their doors for people like me who are self-employed, are women who want to make a difference in a community that doesn't get to have these type of programs. And Janet, who runs Ann's, was so willing to have me come in. She was so excited and so inviting to have an affordable place for me, to have a safe and comfortable place for families to come to, was really just such a relief for me as a business owner, but also just so exciting because Ann's is so unique. When the families walk into Ann's Haven, I feel like they are welcome. They feel welcome. They feel like we are having class in a living room space that is comfortable for the children and comfortable for the families. You know, I really respect Janet's mission that this place is for everyone and that it should be a place that is welcoming. One of my families who had been here for have been with me a very long time said, "Oh, this is my favorite location that you have." And I was like, "Why is that?" And she's just like, "It's just so warm here. It's just such a, I walk in and I feel like I'm at home."